So what if all the weird drama that was circling with the day before is all some weirdly crafted intentional marketing plan, but mainly to get people talking about it in a sense? I do want to make a quick disclaimer. Please note this is only a theory that a buddy of mine and myself had regarding the drama circling the day before, and I do want to as well as credit him for this theory. But this is quite an interesting topic that I wanted to share and see what my community thought about it. So let's actually do a quick recap of the particular drama that was regarding the day before. So the day before has been under major spotlight in the gaming space, and I will try to recap it all so we could jump right into the theory so that the people who are in the dark about the drama can catch up. You know, for those who don't sit well with the, Twitter or anything of that nature to see what's really going on, we could definitely check it out here. So I have a particular timeline that I've made, which basically, let's go right from the beginning. The day before was being developed in 2019 after a couple of fantastic games have failed. Granted, they have made about 3 or 4 games prior before the development of the day before. These games include, as of Wild 8, Dead Dozen, and a third title. Now, what's really weird about these titles is that they were almost made from almost seemingly as a year apart. In a sense, they were founded in 2015, and their first game was 2017. Then their next game was 2018. The next game, 2019. Then from there, as of the time of the day before was being made, which would be developed in 2019, they were also developing Prop Night as well, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So by the time of 2021, we received a massive brand spanking new trailer showcasing the day before for the very first time. This is the particular trailer that everybody's very well known of. It's the car, little SUV truck driving in, the very scripted dialogue. We get the narrator talking over that particular demo. But during this time, we also find out a little bit more about the team behind Fantastic. This is when we learn that Fantastic's been doing this for quite some time, and that this is their major big breakthrough. And we also know that the team is behind Fantastic is full of volunteers through Fantastic's website to sign up. Now, whether or not, doing a little bit of digging on their website, if we actually go to it, we find a little couple of weird things regarding their website. And, I have nothing against people volunteering and stuff of that nature, but it's just strange that, that's what they make up of their entire team. Even they have 2 types of volunteers at Fantastic: full-time team members, which would be their employees, and external volunteers. And pretty much majority of this team, which is I think 30 plus if I'm not mistaken, there are some type of volunteers. Now, of course, I don't know if this is a cultural thing because this team is based in Russia. I live here in the States, so I don't know too much of like how they speak on certain matters. Like they call their employees volunteers. That part is just a little weird to me. Then, of course, if you want to actually work in Fantastic, we get these nice little gifs of different people who work for this team. At this given point, and when we find out what Fantastic is, this is when we really start to learn who they are. For anybody who've noticed a little bit about their website, it's just very odd. They did make their website out of Squarespace if you do a little bit extra digging into the script. And some of these faces definitely does look a little uncanny. Now, my buddy did think that they might be AI generated, which I stand a little, it's just uncanny. I don't think AI generated, but it's very something that is just an uncanny look to it. But hey, that happens. It happens. But they very are proud of pronouncing that they are volunteers and that they're very good at doing remote little things. They don't like offices. They really just like to do everything remote. And these 2 guys would be our main people behind the Fantastic team. Now, with that being said, at this point, that's where we learn all of that information. But then, when May 2022 came around the corner, the day before was to be released, and by the time of this release, they actually pushed it back to March 1st, 2023, due to wanting to have the game to be ported into Unreal Engine 5. During this time, when we find out this massively MMORPG has been pushed, you know, a lot of people were kind of upset. But we did get a couple of new trailers that people started to get a little bit more worried about and realize some of the trailers were being very scripted and not actually showcasing actual gameplay. And that would be particular other trailers regarding the vehicle gameplay and a couple other trailers that just were trying to showcase a little bit more, but it all felt uncanny. It felt weird. It felt off. Now, for some of you who has been following up on the day before drama, this is something you probably already know. And essentially, it's once people really start picking apart at it, it's kind of something that's very strange. But let's get to more recent events. So as of last month, January 2023 was probably by far the biggest month regarding the day before. Not only did they have NVIDIA, they teamed up with NVIDIA to showcase a RTX on and off trailer. We also was going to get a 10-minute raw gameplay footage, and this was the season we're finally about to get the hottest new MMORPG of the year, which that would bring us not even a couple weeks into March 1st. But something happened. And of course, something happened. Just like it has happened every other time. But this time it's a little bit more interesting. And this is what really makes our theory play a major big part into this. So they got hit with a trademark dispute. But this dispute has been going on long before we even knew about it. Interesting. Now, I have seen a lot of people cover this, but what me and my buddy did, we actually did a little bit of searching into this trademark dispute, and it plays into a part of something that the day before team said. Now, they received their trademark dispute January 19th. That's what they said on Twitter. But technically, they were already, IGN has already covered that they were already planning on moving. They were already planning on delaying it before the dispute. And when, news came out that it was going to happen, it became a little weird because not only did they say that, they also were saying that along the fact of, hey, we already planned on delaying it. But if you actually do a little bit extra, just a little bit extra digging into the trademark dispute, you come to find out that they already knew about this dispute back in November, which I'll actually show you guys that in a second, in November of last year. But the day before, which was at this time was probably the most wishlisted MMO survival game on Steam, and it got delisted off of Steam due to it. And the game's supposed to be dropped in a few weeks from today's recording. Now, let's get to the actual trademark dispute, which I will have it on screen right here for you guys. So, I have a publicly available patent for, people who wants to look at the patent very closely. So, currently what you guys are seeing right now is the first person to file the dispute. So, the attorney's name is Sung Jung, and he's helping file for the team over at Calendar App, which they have patented the day before. Now, as you can see from when they originally filed this, which would be May 21st, 2021, when they did the original filing. Now, if you go on day before's Twitter, you'll actually know that this has been going on for quite some time, which also plays horribly in the day before's part because as a team, you want to make sure you have everything locked and loaded before your game releases in 2 months' time, and it's been going on for almost 3 or 4 years. So they say that, as you know, our game was announced in January 2021. Yes, we all know this. At the time of the announcement, the day before game trademark was available, which is correct. But it was available, but they didn't go through with the filing to make sure it was theirs. They just continued with the name the day before. And this random person, I forgot what country they lived in. It was some country. They have the day before, as you can see here, already on file for this name. And we can look at their earliest sign. They pretty much did a section 66A and they filed it June 25th, 2021. So they already, from the time of them filing it and realizing something, going through the court papers, doing it, this stuff does take a decent amount of time to get through, which that's perfectly fine. But as a team, this falls on the day before's part, just for the simple fact of they should have had this handled prior beforehand. Now, right now, when the day before have the Fantastic team, released this information onto their Twitter, because it is publicly available. When they released it, they didn't really think too far, and now they're trying to fight this dispute. So here's one thing that they told us, that they said that they didn't know about this until January 19th, 2023. Here's the problem. That is very untrue, because they already had this dispute going from all the way back at 2021 when the whole thing first got announced. So this was the Sungjung. So this is the people at Calendar app that is trying to dispute this cause against them, correct? Let's go over to the day before, the Fantastic team. So we got a good guy, Robert, that is on the side of Fantastic. And if we look at the time frame of the prosecution history, you will realize that they entered an application January 31st for this, correct? January 31st. And when it got entered, they already was trying to fight it 2021. So they're a whole year later after this all got filed from the timelines of this opening up. So they entered the application January 31st, 2022. And by the time of February 2nd, that's when the immediate thing started getting too assigned to a lawyer and stuff of that nature. Non-final action written, February 3rd. All of this was being played out and already happening. This was already going on before we as the community already knew about it. And I am going to show you guys an example of actually doing this the correct way. And it's with the very recent game that came out. But the major part, so we don't sit on this for far too long, is that November 7th is when they actually decided to want to do something about the trademark. November 7th, 2022. And then November 16th is when things actually started going. So basically, sum it up in the quickest way possible, November 16th is when the day before knew about the trademark. That's when they knew about it. Our guys over here, Sungjung, they've been trying to deal with this since 2021 and as well as majority of 2022. That is strange. Very strange for this dispute. But then we go over to Hi-Fi Rush, which is a game that Microsoft dropped not even a week or so ago. And if we go to their prosecution history for the name Hi-Fi Rush, they started this application for that name December 24th, 2020. So that means it took 3 years, well, in this case, technically 2 years, to make sure that the name was theirs. The day before, they just filed it January 31st. They were already, the game was being developed 2019. They announced the game 2021. That should have already been filed to have that name prior beforehand. You can't sit and have an application enter in super late. Can't do that, because then you will run into a problem like this where people who do have patent rights to the day before, which of course over months we'll see how well this court case actually goes through, if it falls flat on its face. But you can definitely tell from the time, and then it got assigned to an examiner by day before November 7th. So by the time of November is when 2022 is when they actually want to do something regarding the name, when they were just plastering the day before it everywhere. But without the patent aside, you guys pretty much already get the gist of that. Then, of course, the delay hammer hit the team again as they pushed it to November 10th, 2023, and they wanted to drop this 10-minute raw gameplay footage to prove the game isn't fake, but guess what ended up happening? People picked it apart heavily, and man, did they pick it apart. I even live reacted to it, and there was a lot of things that was very strange about this video. But let's get to the present time as of this recording, and the day before has had their videos taken down off of YouTube. So if you actually go on their YouTube channel, none of their day before videos even exist. If you wanted to actually find the day before, you can only find it from IGN or GameSpot trailers, basically. Then the once silent dev team for almost 3 or so years is now very talkative on Twitter now that the game, their most wishlisted game, is now taken off Steam. All of their YouTube videos have been taken down due to trademark from YouTube, and it's all a crazy mess. So that is the timeline so far. Let's actually jump into the theory. The day before theory. This theory is to basically make people know that the day before exists and who might not care otherwise than when reviews come out. It's good, like, basically has a 0 chance that what's gonna happen, but imagine would be a marketing campaign that would work once in a lifetime. Since the only way to really pull this type of marketing campaign off successfully is if you absolutely know your game is fantastic. No pun intended. But the reality is they said a lot of lofty buzzwords, like we have a zombie survival, mmorpg. You know, this feels like it's a game ripped right from 2013. It's a lot of buzzwords that get people talking, but they never really presented anything that can be proven with any alpha tests, play tests, betas, anything to let people play something or send people out to like, hey, check our game out. You know, a lot of dev teams are doing this. Granted, like I said, not everybody needs to do a closed beta test, but this is an MMO. We got to make sure servers are running good. We got to make sure anything goes on. That's why I do like sometimes betas for MMOs, because you don't want an MMO to come out like hot garbage and then all of a sudden it sunsets not even 2 or 3 months later. But at least have a closed beta test or anything of that nature, even a network test, something to let people know what's going on. Especially when you're in hot water with people who are already thinking your game's fake. You can't even go on YouTube and type in the day before without having plethora of scam videos. And if you're watching this video currently, you're looking at that as well. So it's kind of like there's not much good publicity right here. But sometimes it's like, is bad publicity good publicity in a sense? Like, is everything that they're doing like right now is helping them get more publicity? But it does seem to be some very talented but sadly naive programmers with practically zero real business savvy got together with some concepts, started making something, and that part plays heavily when it comes to this trademark. The fact that they didn't even decide to work on the trademark of the name until after the fact, where they're just propping the day before all over Steam, all over YouTube, all over every media outlet that you can find, you know, you will raise concerns because technically the name is fully not yours yet. Like I said, I showed you Hi-Fi Rush. They already had that name covered almost 2 years prior before the game actually releasing. And as well as they overpromised and have been scrambling under the weight of reality. Given a lack of a Kickstarter or anything similar, I don't really see this game being a cynical crash grab or even a scam. It's just something that is very poorly executed in a sense. But the thing that bugs me and my buddy is, how did this, of all things, become the most wishlisted game on Steam? And my question to you guys, do you guys think that it got botted to that position? Why would they try and generate hype for a game that didn't have remotely ready? Keep in mind, this game was supposed to come out last year, and last year they wanted to move it to this year for Unreal Engine 5. Now, that part is a little bit strange to me, and I made a comment to my buddy about this when we were talking it over. It's like, they wanted to go to Unreal Engine 5. They went from May release date, delayed it to put from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5, so to March 1st. So almost a whole year later. why change your development halfway through just to make it look even prettier? It's a zombie MMO survival game. We can be fine with Unreal Engine 4. If anything, you can still release the game. I've seen many games do it where they made an update overhauling the entire thing to where it can be ready for the new engines. They should already have this done already. But after lots of research about the day before, this story becomes a rather interesting one and probably one of the most talked stories this year. As we wait for November 10th, the scam stories and the hype for the day before is currently now at its peak, and we receive another delay. This will hurt the day before it's a real game or not. Right now, I have to see if the dispute will go through or fall face first, and as well with Fantastic and what's going on behind the scenes. From moments of playing victim to promising a lot of stuff to their community. Now, I do have my final take on this matter. Is the day before is probably the most anticipated mmorpg to release this year, and with the community worried about the state of the game and the devs having not the greatest communication, it's easy to say we have to wait and see what happens in the next few months, whether we get some playtests or actual footage, something that isn't scripted. Because when they made this delay, they said they wanted to add more content, make sure it worked well. Like they're using this time as a scapegoat to continue making this game, because the game does not feel readily available. It's just strange because we have a lot of receipts on their Twitter page. A lot of things just doesn't add up. That's what really made us want to do this theory, because it just does not add up. So at this point, do you even have anything readily available for anybody to play? Because right now you don't want to be in a spot where everyone thinks your game is fake, and then if it's fake, nobody's not going to really want to play it. But then you got the other half that, wants to go all in with the day before, that actively waiting for it. But let me know what you guys think about this theory regarding the day before and the team over at Fantastic. And of course, no, this isn't a spread any hate. This is just mainly regarding the concerns for the game. I thought it'd be interesting to look a bit deeper into this mess at its core, and I want to actually thank my friend that helped me do some digging, as well as the one who came up with this theory, and I wanted to showcase it to you guys. If you enjoyed today's video, then make sure to subscribe. It helps out a lot. And like the video. If you like the theory, it helps out. Show it to others. Let's see if we can get a little bit more people, talking about it, and hopefully we get something from the day before, the Fantastic team, hopefully. And as well as, it's been your host, KSDTV, here at Chaotic Inc., signing out. Peace.
Manifest, I don't sleep, that's so weak, don't plan to rest. I'm from a hood where you die if you don't pack a vest. No culinary degrees, but whipping crack the best. Chefing, hard times taught lessons. Praying every night to pull up and park Benzes. What's my home is what you call trenches. You wouldn't last a day seeing life through all lenses. It's all tension, no sun and rain and plenty. Full-time job, still can never make a penny.